So I'd like to welcome my guest today. Her name is Moj Razmi-Joy. And we had a brief encounter where we met each other briefly on a podcast, on her podcast. So now I'd like to welcome her to my podcast and looking forward to get to know you better, Moj. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for having me here, Bronwyn.
It's a great pleasure. So let's start by finding out where you grew up and who are you? What was your childhood years like for the listeners?
Well, I am originally from Iran. I
Wow.
was born in one of the main cities northeast of Iran called Mashhad. And
Hmm.
um, and when I was 2 years old, we moved to the capital, to Tehran. So I remember most of my childhood being there, and but frequently visiting my grandma's at the in summer times and in holidays
Hmm.
at the space that I was born in.
Right.
So so that's basically as far as where I'm from and where I was born. And
And how big is your family?
we are a family of four. I have a
Right.
brother and parents.
Your career, I know that you told me that you're an engineer, but tell us
Mm.
about how that unfolded in your early years.
Well, from a young age, I always had this inquisitive mind.
Mhm.
I always wanted to know what's going on inside of things. Like we had this gramophone, this big record player, and I could not wait to like get inside and see,
Mm.
what's there. And
Yeah.
my dad would give us toys. Like we were like one of the first kids that had these radios that we could screw on our bikes. So as we were biking, we could listen to
Mm.
radio, and it
Oh,
had like
that's
a horn.
cool.
Yeah, it had like a light. It was like my dad was an admiral in Navy, so he would go on a lot of
Yeah.
travels, and so he would bring us really cool stuff from those travels. He was such a gift giver, and
Hmm.
I would literally things that were mine. I would literally like open and get into them, and I couldn't figure out what's what, but I just would
Hmm.
look to it, and then I would put it back together. And sometimes something would break. I would open it up and I would just touch things, and then I
Yeah.
would put it back together, and it's fixed. And I was like, oh, I can fix things. I So the times I really didn't know how I fixed it, but I
Right.
would fix things. And
Yeah.
um, and then I had a one of my favorite uncles. I have one. Um, a main uncle and one main aunt as far
Hmm.
as closeness and like spending time. I do have several uncles and aunts, but there was one of each that we spend most of our childhood with. And he was an engineer, and
Um,
he came to U.S. to California to Berkeley for his master's. And when he came back, he also gave me his binder, which was a
mm.
leather binder with the emblem of Berkeley, UC Berkeley on it.
Yeah.
And so ever since I was a kid, I was kind of like idolized him, and I was like, I want to be an
Yeah.
engineer.
Okay.
My mom wanted me to be a doctor, but I didn't
Okay.
have, um,
Hmm.
that was too much of an emotional job for me. I
Yeah.
couldn't relate too much to people. So that's
Um,
how I get ingrained, and it was all my own doing. My parents
mm.
really push us in any direction that we didn't want to go.
Hmm. And so where did
Yeah.
you do your studies in the States or?
Yes, so I basically I'm generation zero in US. I originally did not have an intention of leaving the country. My brother wanted to
Mhm.
come to US to for education. I didn't have that intention. I was very content back home with all the sport activities I was up to. I had like a big network of friends, and I was doing all these cool stuff as a Navy kid. I had the privilege of going water skiing, snow skiing, horseback riding, playing tennis. And I
Okay.
had all
Mm.
since the revolution happened, there were a whole lot of things going on, and then universities got closed, and it got to
Mm.
a point that there was no it was not in sight when the universities will open up again. And
Mm.
I ended up being a high school graduated for 2 years, and was doing a bunch of different things, but we couldn't go nobody, like basically all they were shut down.
Right.
Uh, and it got to a point that I either had to get married and start living a different life or leave the
Mm.
country. And
Mm.
you know,
Oh, big decisions.
yeah, my parents put that in front of me, and I had
Mm.
no desire to get married. So
Mhm.
it was more like, yeah, okay, I'll go. So I was generation zero here. I worked 5 jobs
Wow.
because money was coming in due to revolution, and I went to UC Berkeley. That's
Wow, that's a
yeah,
fascinating
yeah.
story. How old were you when you transferred to the US? And did
I
you have
was
a place to go to when you landed
Well,
there?
I originally went to Ohio because you got to get an I-20, which basically
Mm.
means your acceptance to the university, and that's the private college that my brother got his
Okay.
acceptance. So for my brother was able to get me that acceptance. So I went there for
Okay.
2 years, and then from there I moved to California, and
Mm.
I was the first of my family sort of being in California. And then eventually, everybody, like my uncle, same uncle that I talked to you
Yeah.
about, same
Hmm.
aunt that I mentioned,
Hmm.
and then eventually they all came and we situated all in California.
Mm. What type of engineering did you specialize in?
I studied industrial engineering. However, most of my work was in electrical engineering.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, so take us
Yeah.
through the career and how did things evolve? Just the highlights of your career to where you are
Well,
now.
I I started working in a fab, which is a fabrication where they make computer chips. So
Uh-huh.
you get geared up in all the clean room attire, so you look like you're going to space, and so I started with that at a ground level of how like the computer chips are made and
Mhm.
what process they go through and all of that. And that was quite an experience. It was a tough job because it was 24-hour fabrication. Like if you
Yeah.
shut down the and they never come back the same. So it's a 24-hour operation. So I worked
Yeah.
different times
Mm.
and it was really interesting, and it was I was very interested with all the work, but like you feel like you almost are in underground
Mm.
your whole work hours. So I did that for a few years and got that
Mm.
fundamental under my belt, and then I moved to
Okay.
another company, managing the reliability engineering part of that company, which is the back end. So the
Yeah.
chips were the beginning of the product, and the reliability was the end of the product when the product
Okay.
is going to the customer, and
Mm.
we test it to a point that we know that this product is going to be reliable
Mm.
from being taken off in a jet and landing,
Mm.
from sub-zero to heated to, sub-zero to heated, like cycling in those temperatures, and so many other tests
Mm.
that evolved. And that was also for the time that it lasted for me was a very intriguing and very exciting job. And
Mm.
all along, I was always on a spiritual
Mm.
side ever since I was
Yeah,
a kid.
I was going to ask, how did you balance the work with your
Yeah.
passions and hobbies on the side?
So I was always a very playful person. I Playing is part of my life. If
Mm.
you give me priority of things, and if there's play involved, play will get number one priority. I'll be
Okay.
at it. I'm like, I gotta go play. So
Yeah.
even at this time of my life, playing always takes a big part of my life, and so I always had that, and I always played with life. I always played with concepts. I always questioned
Mm.
concepts,
Mm.
and I was one of the kids that was asked to go to her room so much because I always was so I had all these questions that I wanted to ask and all
Yeah.
these conversations
Hmm.
I want to, and I would get in a lot of conversations with my elder family members. I was
Hmm.
very close to my grandma, and I was just soaking up all the things she was telling me. My grandpa was a poet. My grandma was a poet. They were very much into philosophy
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
uh, history, and so my great grandma was just this wise being, and so I would
Mm.
just soak it up, like just talking to
Okay.
these people as a young teenager or before I was a teenager. So I would just sit there bored to death, but then at the same time, I just because I wanted to be sitting next to my mom was always a very busy person, And
Yeah.
just because of that, by default, I
Mm-hmm.
picked up a lot. I started meditation at a very young age just to be playful and see how it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mantras, a lot of the was my background as far as when I was going through, when I was in US as by myself in California and working 5 jobs to pay everything and anything from
Oh,
my
that's
rent
crazy.
to tuition.
Ambitious.
Yeah. So,
Mm.
and I really don't look at it as ambitious. It was just like the thing to do. It was just a lot of things. Looking back, I have
Mm-hmm.
done, I'm still doing a lot of hard things, but I don't look at it as, oh, I'm doing this hard thing and I'm
Mm.
going to just, I'm just going to do
Mm.
it and make it
You just
happen
take it
because
in your stride.
I'm just like, this is what I want to do. Do I want something else? No, I want this.
Yeah.
So let's make it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And universe just opened up opportunities for me, and
Wow.
it's just curious how things would
Mm.
open up for me, how the right jobs and right side jobs would show up.
Okay. How did your career evolve into what you're doing now? And if you can share what it is you're doing now.
Yeah. So when I got pregnant with my first daughter, I started telling my husband, maybe we can pay off the mortgage so one of us doesn't have to work. Maybe we can do this. I started having these um topics that I want to talk to you. And my husband was like, who are
Mm.
you? Like, what are you talking about? And he would just like shut them down. And I didn't have much um uh, backing to what I was saying because I was just saying these things and not
Mm.
knowing what I was talking about. But it was, looking back again, it was just because I felt like I don't want to be working like that anymore. I mean, I
Mm.
loved my job. I was making a very good amount of money. I was having
Mm.
all the prestige. I was bossing people around. It was just it was a really cool package of everything as far as a job
Mm.
could contain. But looking back, I can tell I was setting the ground for,
Mm.
maybe I don't want to do that anymore. It took me some time, and it was more like I recognize that being at work is not the place I want to be. I rather
Mm.
home and doing
Do
whatever it is
else.
that I need
Yeah.
to be doing with children. And so that was something that I literally solely made that choice. Nobody in my family was
Mm.
backing me up. My parents
Mhm.
panicked. My uncles and aunt were like, what are you doing? My cousins are like, are you crazy? Because I was
Yeah.
the youngest of the first batch of cousins, and I was the
Mm.
only one here with no money coming from home. So they all knew that I had a tougher life as far as accomplishing the things that we all accomplished as children of this family. So they were like, are you
Mm.
crazy? You're gonna give it all up? And
Yeah.
my husband was like, I don't think you're going to give it up. You like your job. He was like in
Mm.
denial. And it got to a
Mhm.
point that I just told him, I'm giving you 6 months notice. I'm going to quit my job. And
Mm.
it just kind of more of the things that it also proved to me more and more that when I want to do something in my life, ever since I was a
Mm.
kid, I could always do whatever I wanted to do as long as I really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
and uh, and then everybody else
That
would
drive. Mm.
play along. And so when you ask my husband is like, that's the best thing that ever happened to us. The best thing,
The best thing. Okay.
the best thing. And
Wow.
though he sort of had to strap it up, and he was in startup mode stuff, and so he would pay himself nothing really because
Mm.
we would be sufficient financially. But then I was like, no, you can't do that. Um you gotta do what you need to do and take care of
Yeah.
that aspect. And
Mm.
so it started from there. And then as soon as I took a month off, I did
Yeah.
family leave. All I did was meditation and yoga. And
Wow.
it's very clear for me that at this time frame of my life, I want to be a
Yeah.
mom. So after that, I gave my husband 6 months notice. I went to my boss. I told him I'm going to quit in six
Oh,
months.
wow.
And he was like, no,
And
you'll
sorry, how
never.
long ago was this? How long ago was this from
This
now?
is uh, this is some time ago. This is
Right.
like me 20 years ago.
Okay. Wow.
And
Okay.
I was asked at the gym that it was an all-woman gym I was going to.
Mm.
I was asked there to teach yoga, and I was like, no, I'm not going to teach yoga.
Yeah.
I can teach other, because I was always in movement. I can teach kickboxing, I can teach
Okay.
dance, teach step, but I'm not going to teach yoga. But the manager there was like, I've seen your
Mm.
practice, I want you to teach it. And
Mm.
they gave me a short training there as far as like logistics and stuff. And I didn't want to be out of integrity, so I found
Mm.
yoga training, which at that time you could not find yoga trainings. Like right now, every yoga studio offers it. Back then, you had to either go to somewhere in India or somewhere in Southern California, Southern America, or
Mm.
somewhere. And I got lucky. I found that at a nearby junior college. I found the program, 9 months program,
Right.
which is Friday and Saturday, Sunday, once a month. And it's just like everything
Mm.
just sort of worked
Yeah.
together. As soon as I got my certification, I was
Okay.
for the job at Stanford to teach there. Just
At
something,
Stanford.
yeah,
Oh,
for the healthy
wow.
program. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
that you can't get in. And a friend who had another friend showing up, and the other friend
Mm.
just asked all these questions. And 2 weeks later, she called me. She says, "There's a
Yeah.
Thursday class under an oak tree. Do you want to do it?" And I was
Yeah.
like, Stanford and Berkeley and Stanford are rivalries. So I was like, I'm not gonna teach at Stanford. My husband went to
Okay.
Stanford and I went to Berkeley. I'm like, I'm not gonna. But then it was
Yeah.
just under a tree, and it's a beautiful campus. And so I did that, and up to pandemic for 15 years, I taught there, not just yoga, but a whole lot of other movement classes. And I started doing
Oh,
lectures there.
wow.
I started creating lecture-based classes, and that's where I also started coaching because people were asking me to
Mm.
coach.
I
So it kind
see.
of like
Wow.
it just evolved.
Yeah.
One,
What was the curriculum that you taught?
you mean the lectures?
Mm.
Movement classes, I would be teaching
Okay.
yoga Pilates and yoga
Right.
Pilates, and I
Okay.
created another class called Butts and Guts,
Mm-hmm.
and that.
Mm-hmm.
But then as far as lectures, I would create courses like on your morning, on your day, spring cleaning yogi style, new
Wow.
year, new
Nice.
beginning, you. So I would have lectures that some of them would be 1 day lectures, some of them would be three, some of them would be five. And
Uh-huh.
they that also sort of put me in front of people. So it
Mm-hmm.
strengthened my public speaking and
Mm. Good.
communicating in front of room with with basically intellectuals
Okay.
at on the campus. So just kind of all morphed into
Yes. Interesting. Yeah.
coaching, and then now that I do the global she he circle where
Mm-hmm.
I revamped my old group as of January 20th. I
Mm-hmm.
reduced it to 200. I started with 200 people, and now we're at 10,700 in travel. I still do things, but my group is growing. I'm interviewing really cool people such as
Yeah,
yourself.
you are. You're
Yeah.
busy, busy lady. So tell me, you've got such a rich background. What would you say is your important life lesson?
My dad used to say a verse, which I think it's his verse because I researched it. I asked every elder in the family, and they said they don't know where that comes from. My family
Yeah.
is connected with the poetry and all that, and I
Mhm.
think it's his own verse. He would say, "Zendegi mohabbat ast o mohabbat haqiqat," which
Okay, you have to
basically,
translate
um, which basically
that.
means life is love and kindness, and love and kindness is the truth.
Oh.
So that was the way my dad lived. And at
Mm.
times I would get mad at him because he would even be
Mm.
nice to people who were mean
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And but that's something that
Mm.
it has narrowed down for me too.
Yes.
That people say love is the answer, and all of that is when everything and anything are happening that I call my joyometer goes into the
Hmm.
negative side. I
Hmm.
notice that I'm not in love. I'm not coming from that
Mm.
space of love, and I don't mean romantic love. I mean
Yeah, yeah.
that love, oneness that you
Sure.
and I.
Godly love. Yeah.
Yes. So,
Oh,
so
beautiful.
that's basically has been my life lesson. That has been my
Mm.
anchor
Mm.
in so many shapes
Yeah.
and different. Yeah.
Mm. That's lovely. And how do you see the next year panning out for you or your future plans? What are...
More of a present kind of a person. So even
Yeah.
I was having all these plans that I wanted to be an engineer and all that, I never thought about, oh, I'm going to be an engineer and I'm going to make
Mm.
SHIT load of money and this and that. I always
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and today these are the classes I have to take, and these is my work schedule.
Yeah.
And even if I was going for something, but and it has never been my strive. Like, I think
Mm.
the only times I get excited is when I have travel plans because of my
Yeah.
playfulness. That I'm like, oh,
Okay. It makes sense.
so with my work, like the way I started the Global She Circle, it was my
Mm.
way of giving my stage audience to all the people that I have met along the way who have so much to offer, yet they don't have
Yeah.
a place to come and speak it.
Yeah.
They don't have
Yeah.
a place to come and articulate it so they can hear themselves, so they can fine tune it, and they can, it's just like everybody's just the best kept secrets, because there's no way,
Mm.
no place for them to come on
Mm.
stage and be in front of an audience. And then from
Mm.
that, now, I'm creating a program within my group, which is called the She Aim, which is a program that is like a subscription program that it's about alignment, impact, and magnetization by showing up as who you are and what your
Mm.
mission is in life, and magnetize in that way of being, rather than chasing
Mm.
after clients or planning and doing this and that. You show up as who you are and you offer what your gifts are. And people will say, I like that frequency and I want to be in that
Yeah.
frequency. So, and I'll see how that goes. I have no
Mm.
attachment to it.
Yeah.
I
That's great.
recently published the book.
What does the book cover? Sorry.
The book is called Rediscover Your Innate Joy.
Okay.
And your joy is not lost, it's just waiting for you to see
Mm.
it.
Love that.
So that's 10 chapters, and at the end of every chapter, there's some practical aspects of practices to do. So I didn't want
Mm.
to just give data. I wanted to
I love
give some
that. The
information.
practical approach. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I actually have a book club that they're moms from when our kids, our oldest, who are 31 now, were
Mm.
kindergartners or preschoolers. And
Really.
we do a book club to this day. Yeah, there's 6, 7 of us who still hang out every month. And this month
Mm.
is they're reading my book. So next week we're gonna
Awesome.
talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And where could people find your book?
The book is on Amazon. It's
Okay.
on both in Kindle and in hard paper copy. And
Great.
if the easiest way to find it is you go on Amazon and you type
Yeah.
Moj Razmi,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
Discover Your Innate Joy, you may do some misspelling or something. But if you type
Yeah.
Moj Razmi,
Your name.
it
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll certainly
yes.
look it up. Sounds
Yeah,
very
I recommend
interesting.
it. I have shared it with some big authors and they're loving it. And that
To check it out on Kindle as well, because I have the Kindle app. Oh, it was lovely to get to know you, Moj, and you're doing some really good work in your Facebook group, promoting so many people, fellow coaches, etc., etc. So yeah, I just wish you well with that and find your drive and your ambition quite infectious and positive.
want to have a space to come share that, look me up and come and join the
Sure.
group and to be showcased in the group. It's
Yeah, yeah,
I'm interviewing people who are just beginning, and I'm also interviewing people who are being on podcasts and really famous,
yeah,
and so it's going from the whole spectrum. Everybody's
yeah.
invited. Yeah,
Oh, so cool. And the name is the Global
yeah, the
She
global
Circle
circle.
on
Yeah, so I
Facebook.
put the
Okay, cool.
flash there just because
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.